Alright, welcome back, guys. Alright, in the last video I showed you how to install the MySQL and get it in the Navicat and get it ready to start making databases for ummorpg and using it, and told you I was going to make the package for the getting started. And I've already released that in the Discord, and this is what's inside of it. You got the MySQL setup file, Navicat setup file, the tutorial video I did, and then the info sheet with this information. You'll notice I deleted the generators for the keys and just put the keys in here. You can use one of these, and this helps you find the stuff in the video quicker. So that's why it's like that. Alright, so we're done with that. Let's go to open up your project. Okay, I've created this. I told you I was doing a package. Well, this is the first one. This is all of my packages so far have had tools version with them. So this is no exception. This one has tools. This does not have the attributes because unlike the 2D version had that bug that if you didn't have attributes you had to insta kill from the monster. This version 3D 179 doesn't have that, so we can just have tools installed by itself. So that's why this one is like this. So when you open up the tools version that I'm going to put in, again, this is just call it a practice project, if you will, for the people that are looking for one for just tools and ummorpg and 179. Here you go. But this is also a good one for you guys to practice whether you can get your MySQL to connect and use the project and all that. I'm working on the build for a new bundle. It'll be all MySQL. So right now we'll go to the network manager and scroll down until you see right here the database connection. This is now set up for MySQL. There's no longer a switch for SQLite. SQLite is nowhere involved in this. So what we're doing here is this is the local host, which is where we're at right now. You never really change this ever. It stays localhost. The only time you change is down here when you change the IP. So this is your localhost IP. If you're going to add, let's say, your root server, VPS server, whatever, then you can make a second one and you can call it, let's say, VPS, and then you would put the IP for the VPS here. But that's beyond the scope of this video right now. Let's get you using MySQL. So in the network manager here, you see all these slots. The database name, that'll be the database name that we're going to create in Navicat. I can tell you right now, just for the sake of this video, I'm going to call it micro. Username is root. That's the SQL username, and I left it at the default. The password, remember earlier when I told you to save that password because you'd be using it a lot. Well, I didn't, so let me go find it real quick. Where did I put it? This is a different one. Yeah. Told you guys to do it, and then I didn't even do it. Alright, so you put your password in here that you had saved. And this is the SQL port. That doesn't change unless you're using a different port. And then this is the default character set for the database. That won't change either. So this, and this, you really won't touch. This is the database name, your SQL username, and your SQL password. Once these are set, then we're set to go make our database. Don't let this overwhelm you. This is all very, very, very simple. You set your information here, you're done with ummorpg right now. Now open up your Navicat, and this is where the fun begins. Alright, right click and go to new database. This is very important, so pay attention to this video. Remember when I told you the database name was going to be micro? Now the character set, we're going to scroll all the way down till you see the UTF-8 MB4 Unicode, and then the very first one is the general CI. That has to be set for the ummorpg database to work correctly anyway. Alright, click OK. Now you see we have a database with no tables in it. So this is where we go back into Unity. Everything's set now. No longer will you have an SQLite database file show up. Everything's done with MySQL. And I'm going to show you right now. You're not going to see any difference in the way this runs. Alright, first and foremost, it starts up. We go to server and play, just like you would if you were running an SQLite. Automatically, that just created all the database tables right there. Let me get this stupid thing up here so it's not. Alright, now we're going to create a character. I'm going to use a warrior. Name him MicroRecon. Create. No errors. He's there. Boom. We're in. Now, do you notice I'm doing the same exact thing that I would do with SQLite? Everything works exactly the same. Everybody that's been paranoid and freaking out over that has had no reason to. This is exactly the same because I created a database on my local machine. So every time I'm using it, it's just like I'm using SQLite in a matter of speaking, except for I'm using the MySQL database. And because it's local, everything runs local right here. And here's the trick. If you, on your VPS or dedicated server, root, whatever, if you use the same password for your SQL there as you do for your local host here at home, I'll show you this save too while we're at it. Remember where I'm at here. If you use the same password for both, then when you add in that second server right here, like I told you earlier, and you add your VPS in, you'll be able to build your files and just transfer your server files over to your VPS and run your client anywhere and connect without having to change anything else. As long as all this information is the same, the database name's the same, everything's the same, it's good practice to keep it the same locally and on your root. Nothing changes other than the code you're coding for your add-ons. Everything else stays the same. So this is no different than running SQLite in the end, except for it's more stable. I say no different, meaning that the way I run it, the way you run it, the server and play, everything about this is exactly the same way as if you were running an SQLite server. Alright, you see where I'm at? And I'm saved. So there's that part I've showed you. Now let's go take a look real quick at the database tables. Now I could refresh probably down here. I find it better to just shut it off and reopen it. Alright, boom, here's all our tables. Here's my character I just created. And my accounts. Characters inventory. The slots, everything just like SQLite, only you have direct access to it right here. The player has to be offline for you to edit, like if you were to add stuff to his inventory or his gear or whatever. He has to be offline for that to work, to take place in the database. Should be the same way for SQLite as well. If you do it in real time, there are ways to do it, but for the scope of this video, that's not what we're talking about. Anyway, here's your database. It's set up. So now I'm going to show you something else. Here's the thing with SQLite versus MySQL when it comes to building. This is going to take a minute, but I'm going to show you something too I do. I make a build folder. I create a client folder and a server folder. That way everything's already pre-set up for me to do what I'm doing now. Then I'll go to build my files, server files, point it to my server folder and just click to build. So far I've been pretty lucky with my videos not lagging behind, so I'm going to hope that this one doesn't do so and that I'll be able to show you a build I'm gonna show you regardless. I just hope that it doesn't lag behind too bad. It takes a minute to build the server side. The client side's a lot quicker. So the point of me showing you this is because it might make a liar out of me and build faster, but we'll see. The point of me showing you this is because I want to show you that normally with an SQLite database, you would either delete the database or move it from the build folder or where your editor is, your saved project files, whatever, to your server folder so people could keep their information, da 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 da, whatever. With this, you don't move the database. The database stays where it's at. It's solid. You don't have to. Here's where I. This is contradictory, I guess. You don't have to delete your database all the time. Unless you're doing major database changes to, like, from add-ons and stuff like that, then you would have times where you would be just like if you were using SQLite, where you would have to delete the database because the tables have changed and things aren't going to work correctly. However, the better you get, I'm going to build the client now. The better you get at using MySQL, the one thing you'll learn real fast and be able to do by the end of it is edit tables without having to delete your database. You would be able to make queries and run those queries to add the tables in, and then just modify the information on an existing character in the database so that basically it reads like the character never had that particular table before, like if it was a new item or whatever. He never had that item before, so you just put a zero there or whatever, and it would read it as zero until he got the item. I don't know if that made any sense to you, but what I'm saying is that once you get better at learning how to use the MySQL database, you can create the tables without having to delete a whole database. But for the sake of learning, if you don't have a bunch of live people and all that, and you're just doing a build for the sake of doing builds to test your files, it doesn't matter how many times you have to delete your database because you're the only one that has to keep starting over. If people are crying already about it, oh, I don't want to have to keep starting over. Well, this is a build, this is an alpha, this is a beta, this is whatever. You really kind of need to shut up about that because you're going to have to build and it's going to get deleted. That's just the way things are. Alright, so now I have my server and my client folder build. I'm showing you a headless build or a headless run right now. Keep in mind that I use AVG antivirus, so my stupid, you'll see us do some dumb stuff real quick, probably. Oh, it might not now. Because I already ran this earlier, so it may skip all the dumb shit. I won't even explain what it normally does unless you got AVG. It would normally eat your exe here and then try to make an exception, and you create the exception and it won't do it again. Apparently, it's working. So anyway, my files are launched now. It's listed on 7777. Go to your client, load your client. Now with SQLite, you would have had your database deleted and you would have had to start a new character, right? Well, now this is a headless build, not a server in play, remember? So now we're just going to click log in. I'm going to get rid of this create account button because we don't use it. But I'm going to log in. And what do you see? My already existing character. Reading from my MySQL database that already exists. Saving the information where I was saved already. Like it's fucking supposed to. Difference is now is I don't have to wait for the stupid thing to save for 60 seconds. If I move over here and I click quit, if this makes a liar out of me, I'm going to shoot somebody in the fucking face. Start your client back up. And if all went well, click log in again. And I'm standing over here because it automatically saved when I quit. It's working exactly as it should, and that's how simple MySQL really is to run. No panic. Stop panicking. SQLite's bullshit. Why Viz put that in by default in the ummorpg as a build is beyond me, but anybody worth their salt knows that you use MySQL off the bat. You get everybody used to it, and this kind of shit wouldn't have happened in the first place. So I've showed you now how to create your database, how to edit in your network manager all your information here, your database name, your username for SQL, your password for SQL, the port, the default character set, and the local host. You won't change this, you won't change this, and you won't change this really. You'll just change these if you change database names or this information changes. How long are we at here? Not bad. All right, and the local host, like I said, if you wanted to put it on your VPS, you'd put two, whatever. I'm not going to show you all that in this video right now. I can if you're interested in seeing me do it on the root and do it on the local host. I can make a separate video for that. Let me know in the chat if you do want to see something like that. Otherwise, I've showed you everything you need to know on how to create your first database with MySQL and Navicat, seeing all the information and how it worked and how it put it into the database. And we don't have a guild, so where the information's stored, how it's stored, how to create the database. Make sure the very first step in the video you pay attention to, like I said, because that's very important. Trying to think if there's anything else in this video I need to show you. There'll be another video when I do the big bundle that will show you how to install and use that. Everything I do has a video attached because I want people to learn. So that's how you use the tools only version MySQL. I'm sure this was very detailed. Have a good day.